You know, for over 11 years, Little Diva's balloon decorating has turned events into experiences, and celebrations have been turned into parties. Let Little Divas worry about making your event the best that it can be while you relax and enjoy it. Any event you can imagine: birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, family reunions, graduations, celebrations of life. Any event that you can possibly imagine, Little Divas can bring it to life. They specialize in balloon sculptures, cake table archways, and doorway arches. Get a hold of Little Divas right now and make your celebration, reunion, or business function one that people will never forget. Call 606-791-5616. That's 606-791-5616. Or visit them on Facebook.com/Little Diva Party Decorations and see for yourself. Of course, delivery is always available for a slight additional charge. Little Divas, it's where memories begin.
The following is a production of Sloan Studios. You know the podcast. Now it's time for the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings, a unique look inside the world of the Mountain Mysteries. This is where you learn a little more about the Mountain Mysteries episodes and come together to talk. It can be intense, it can be goofy, but it's always fun and mostly always interesting, even if you're rewatching Chris make a fool out of himself. Viewer discretion is always advised.
It's all about love and connection. You know who that sounds like?
Yeah, I do.
It's kind of a little bit shocking.
And I could see a figure, an outline, and it stood right there at my door and wouldn't come through.
Hey, this is Stacia Underwood Gullett.
I'm Josh Preston.
This is Amanda Collins.
I'm Dave Newsom, and I'm listening to these Mountain Mysteries.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I will be the last to fall. I won't shed a tear for them to see. And I won't have your name to call. 'Cause I will be the last to fall.
With over 24% of the 1.9 billion square acres in America alone, the mountains that so many people call home are also host to some of the most incredible mysteries in the world. The missing, the murdered, strange creatures, unexplained lights, and sightings of unidentified objects. These stories may be strange, they may be sad, they may be odd, but they are mysterious. These are the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings. And now, live from the Pantry Studio, broadcast to all time zones around the world, with listeners of the podcast in the United States, Canada, Germany, Norway, India, the United Kingdom, and more. These are the Mountain Mysteries Gatherings. Now, your host, Chris Sloan.
And for what it's worth, I hope that you are safe this evening. I hope that you're having a good evening. We're going to start with a thing that's probably heaviest on my mind right now, and probably on most people's minds. A lot of sources have been reporting historic flooding across the eastern central Appalachia area, including eastern Kentucky. Also parts of southwestern Virginia and southeastern West Virginia. Following heavy rains, an estimated 6 to 12 inches have fallen in just the last few days. More is expected to come. A lot of roads and bridges have been washed away, closed out, or deemed impassable by authorities. After spending 25 years in radio, we used to have a script that the National Weather Service would send us. Of course, we took liberties with it, as people do. But that script went something like this. The The National Weather Service office in fill in the blank, in our case, Jackson, Kentucky, has issued a flood watch effective for fill in the counties, which it feels like it's every place around us. The difference between a watch and a warning: watch means conditions are favorable, warning means it's happening. Do not try to cross water-covered roads or bridges by foot or automobile. I did this so long I know it by heart. Don't try to cross these roads if they're covered with water. Raging water, and it does not have to be super deep at all, but a little bit of water can pick up a 3,500-pound vehicle and carry it off. We have some of the most awesome first responders on God's green earth, and they're out there trying to help people, trying to save people. As far as death tolls and things like that's I know of. It's reported that 20 people were unaccounted for, and that was an hour or so ago, maybe a little longer. Reports of significant widespread structure damage. I've heard and seen people talking about the fact that homes are in roads. We did an episode sometime back about, it's called Frozen. It was about Frozen Creek in Breathitt County, Kentucky. Flash flooding there in July of 39 claimed a lot of lives. The thing about this is, whether or not you live in a floodplain, the water doesn't care. It gets high enough. It doesn't care what your insurance carrier says. It doesn't care what you may think. Oh, well, we're out of the floodplain, or we're out of the floodplain. There was a guy quoted in 1939 in Breathitt County, Kentucky, said the same thing, and it washed his house straight off the hill because it came down in sheets and droves. I fear that this may be as bad, in some cases worse. So I'm sitting here looking at this big, huge monitor I've got in my studio right now, and down on the corner in the left-hand side, it says flood, and it just went from red, literally as I said that, to yellow. So that meant that it went from it's happening to cautionary, depending upon where you're at, which is how the weather works. It depends on where you're at. I have seen several people that are marking themselves safe for families because right now, I know there's a lot of power outages, internet outages, phone service outages. I don't know of very many people anymore that have an actual landline in their home. I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying I don't know of a lot of people that do. Most people rely on cellular technology and wireless communication as such. The good thing about that is, yeah, it's convenient. You can go anywhere in the house with it. Bad thing about that is they operate on towers, and those towers can get flooded, or lightning storms can knock out the communication systems. And yeah, we've got people that are working to restore that too. But the problem is they've got to get to them first. And sometimes you got to go to the valley to get to the mountaintop, and the valleys right now, in a lot of cases, simply are not passable. To say that we are offering our prayers is an understatement. We'll keep this up to date as far as we know. 1 hour ago, a real flood warning was effective for Prestonsburg, Kentucky until midnight 12:30 a.m. I get in from WIMT Weather that they are expecting more, if I understood this right. I've been having pictures sent to me via text and via Facebook from friends with John boats, or, the trolling motors on the back of them. Most people know what that is. Anyways, they're going down streets trying to collect as many people as they can, as many people as the boat will hold. Well, if anybody knows what a John boat is, they're not very big. Then, of course, we've got swift water rescue. Several of those have happened today with rescue squads all around the region. Floyd County, Perry County, take your pick. I mean, these guys are out there, and these ladies, these people, these human beings are out there putting their life on the line, so do whatever you can to help them. So that's why I say, if you come across a water-covered road, turn around and go back. A little bit of moving water can sweep a 3,500-pound car a 4,000-pound car straight off the road. And it doesn't take much. You lose traction. That's what happens. Do what emergency management officials are asking people to do. Now, at the time of the airing of this, which is July 28th, 2002, 10 minutes past 9 o'clock New York time in the United States, this is a relatively small area that's being affected as far as I know. But I know yesterday I looked on the radar map and it seemed like it was dotted all over the United States of America. It was all over the place. So please, please be safe. If water starts to get into your home, do what you can to get to higher ground immediately. Or if it gets into your yard, don't wait. Get out of there. Get someplace as quickly as you can, as safely as you can, that's going to keep you out of harm's way. Maybe spend the night with a friend or a family member, or I don't know, something. Hell, at that point, I would rather pay for a motel room. That's not being dealing with a flooding parking lot than I would stay in a place that's going to be flooded. A lot of people have lost everything. Things that they've worked their whole lives for. Our thoughts and prayers are with them and with the people whom have been claimed by this disaster. Doesn't seem to fit it. Just went back to red. That little flood icon I was telling you about just went back to red. More is expected. The earliest break I think we may get, from what I've seen with the radar and from what I've heard with the weather folks, the people that really know the weather and how to do this kind of thing, the earliest break I'm thinking that we may be able to get is Saturday. And even then, there's a chance. But it's not like we're seeing tonight and tomorrow. So please, pray. To whatever God you believe in, pray. Or at least have them in your thoughts, and maybe be prepared to do a little something extra for somebody that is so much less fortunate than you. And there are plenty of those people out there. I have no doubt of that. When I initially planned what we are going to do tonight, and I'm going to bring her on right now. She's standing by, waiting in the shadows, like always. My friend Stacia. Good evening, dear.
Well, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing good. I hope you are. I hope you're safe and dry.
We're here. We
Yeah.
came from the flood.
Yes. When I initially planned, it seems like, and I made comment, I think, to you last week, and I made comment to other people, that the gatherings is taking on its own life. It was originally designed to promote the podcast, and we still do that. We'll talk briefly about episode 59, which is going to be released a little after midnight. But this thing has made, honestly, Stace, it's made a bigger impact than I ever thought it would.
Isn't that something?
Well, my mom used to say, rest her soul, if you want to make God laugh, tell him about your plans.
Yeah.
And my plans were to promote the episodes. And then I start getting these emails. And you've gotten a few yourself. You guys kept me from doing something horrible, or you guys have made a big difference. That's not tooting our horns. What that is simply us being grateful that we were able to do something that made somebody think a little differently. And then I actually had, and I'd love, because I actually put this in a caption. Yeah, check out the bottom of your screen right here. Somebody said this.
Yeah.
The Gathering's the best TV that isn't TV. And we're not TV. We don't go by a script. We don't follow what's called a program clock in the broadcasting business. You've got this much time for music or program content. Then you take a 2-minute break. Then you've got this much time. Then you take a break. Then you get the idea. And it's in the shape of a clock. And every one of them covers a period of 1 hour. Even if the program's over 30 minutes, you have a format to go by. Well, kiddies, hold your ears. Parents, turn this down for just a sec. I dealt with that shit for 25 years. I'm done with it. This is about the people. If it was all about the money, then we'd have a programming clock. This is about the people. We have got listeners, and I just found out, I think it was Monday, Stace. We are in 42 countries around the world
Oh,
now, as
wow.
opposed to 38. We've jumped.
That's awesome. Yeah, it
Like
was
I said,
38. Yeah,
yes, it
wow.
was. It was 38. Now we're at 42 countries around the world, and people watch these videos when they can. And right now, I had a friend of mine tonight say, "Look, you got a lot of people going through a lot of stuff. Don't expect a huge audience. And we don't. But when you do watch this, know that this whole time there's been people out here praying for you.
Yes.
More than anything, praying for your safety and that your life will continue. The lives of the people you love will continue. Because let me tell you something. It ain't about the houses, the cars, or the cash. When the end comes, it's all about that dash that appears right there from the year you were born till the year that God calls you home. Now, what are we going to do so differently tonight? Well, we're going to do a couple of things a little differently, and this may change. It goes with the flow. But before this ever came about, before this rain ever started to fall, before all of these things started to happen, I thought that maybe we could address something that I think is very important. A reason that some people watch this program. And for you, I say, I love you, I'm grateful, and I thank you. Maybe this will make a difference in keeping people. Mental illness is a real thing, it's very real. And maybe there's very few things in my life that tick me off more than hearing somebody say, well, they should just get over it. Wow. Okay. Let me explain something to you. An individual who battles depression can't simply wake up one morning and say, oh, the sun's out, the birds are singing, I'm going to go for a bike ride, or I'm going to go for a jog, or I'm going to. That's not how this works. I am no expert, and let me clarify this with a disclaimer. I am neither a clinically board certified psychiatrist, psychologist, nor a therapist, but I am somebody who's had some experience with this stuff. When I lost my mom and dad in 2019, I became clinically depressed and didn't even know it. How's that possible? It is. Telltale signs include, and Stace, I know that you have people that you love very dearly that battle this, and you yourself have had issues with this, and there's no shame in that. But tell me if I'm wrong. Some telltale signs include when you are really interested in doing a certain thing or things, that no longer appeals to you.
You don't care.
Yeah, you just really, you're right. You're exactly right the way you put that. You literally, you don't care.
You don't care.
Yeah, you don't even feel like getting out of bed in the morning. That goes on long enough. And some people, and here's the thing, there is no key to depression. It can be brought on by anything. It can be brought on by the loss of a pet, which some people, we won't mention any names, Stace, their pets are like family. And they are family. They're not like family, they are family. Am I right? Okay.
My
It can be,
babies are family for sure.
yes.
And I'm not over the loss of my last one.
And
or
I love
my
you for that.
first
And
one.
I'm sorry for you for that. And I am so sympathetic for that. It can certainly be triggered by the loss of someone, a person in our life, a family member, maybe a mom, a dad, a sister, a brother, or God forbid, a child. Because that's a hell you just don't.
Mm-mm.
It can be brought on by the loss of a job. It can be brought on by anything. It's not important what brings it on. What is important is how we deal with it. Now, I am of that generation that says, real men don't talk about their feelings. Bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Best thing I ever did was have a friend. Now, I did go to a certified therapist. And I mean, they made me madder than a wet hen, and I climbed all over her like a piss ant on a popsicle stick. Because when she said, so you lost your parents, how'd that make you feel? Well, let's see. I wanted to go out for ice cream. You think? How did that make me feel? Like my world fell around me. I lost them 33 days apart. Don't have a monopoly on this. I don't. But let's think about this. We already know how you feel. Let's talk about maybe how you can come back to a better place. How you can get out of these thoughts that may be lurking right back here in your head. And sometimes bullying can bring this on. Okay, you want to know what I've got for a bully? Well, I think they're number one. That's what I've got for a bully. They're cowards. Something inside of them says, well, I just have to pick on this person because they wear glasses, or because they're a few extra pounds, or because they're too thin, or because I don't like the color of their hair, or because I don't like the way they talk. Let's see here. I got a thought for that. Piss on them.
We put up with a lot of that.
It's commonplace in today, especially schools, and kids that go to school have got to deal with more than I know that I had to when I went. I mean, look, I ain't gonna lie. My biggest concern when I was going to school was who's getting the beer for the weekend. We didn't have guns coming into school.
No.
We didn't have. I can't. I would have to literally get somebody from high school on this program who would be brave enough and willing enough to say, this is what happens on an everyday basis. And I've not tried to do that yet. I may try to. And if it's okay if they say no, they're not going to be bullied by me. I don't bully anybody. I bully myself sometimes, thinking I can be better at this or I can do that, but that's just pushing myself. That's who I am. I always go back and watch these videos at some point, and I'm like, God, you really suck there. And I go back and listen to the very episodes I create in this studio, the very commercials that air on radio stations all over the place that I create in this studio. And I'm like, bro, quit trying to sound like Don LaFontaine and try to sound more like Chris Sloan. Because Rick Dees, I was blessed years ago to be on the air with this guy. And he looks at me and he says, you know, the most important personality you'll ever have on the air, Chris, is yours. Not mine, not Seacrest. And by the way, Rick did not care much for Seacrest, but not Seacrest. I had to throw that in there. But be yourself. And I think that is where this happiness or this glimmer of hope to come back to ourselves begin. We have to be happy with who we are. And it's okay to recognize. I mean, I'll tell you right now, look, I could use to lose a couple of pounds. But I'm still pretty happy with who I am because I know who I am. I'm a dad. I'm a son. I'm a brother. I'm a friend. I'm a Harley Davidson enthusiast. That's the sand, the Harley Davidson stuff. You see the golf balls in the jar? The big things? For me, that's my family. That's my brother. That's the memories of my parents. Then we pour pebbles in the jar. Well, that's stuff like work. And you've seen the video I'm sure I'm talking about by now. At the end, this professor pours a beer in the jar. And he says, you always leave room for a beer for your friends. In other words, you always have time for your friends. Can't tell you how many people are like, I cannot thank you enough for just being there for me or listening to me. I can't thank you enough for trusting me enough to come and talk to me. And this happens in the course of my job, my other job as a manager. It happens in the course of this program. It happens all throughout life. God will use you if you let him. Free will, folks. Greatest invention since sliced bread. The problem with it is a lot of us don't know what the hell to do with it, so we just shut down on it and we choose not to do anything, which in its very nature and definition, when you choose not to do something, you've made a choice. If that makes any sense. Dad. I have to bring him into this because I learned so much from them both. Dad used to say, you know, the truth of the matter is the only fact or the only thing that never changes in this world is that everything always changes. I was 12 years old when he said that, and he was, yeah. By the time I was 16, Stace, I realized, God, he's right. Everything changes. Everything. When I was 15 or 16 and out riding dirt bikes and playing basketball and running the hills with my buddies, I thought, I'm invincible. This will never change. Things are like this forever.
I'll never
That's
get
why I
old.
wanted to be 16 so bad, because I thought I'd never get to drive a car.
Yeah.
Well, let me tell you, I'm a little bit older than 16 now, and I wish to hell I could go back to being 15, knowing what I know now. Game changer, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely.
Did you have those feelings growing up too? Like when you were 14 or 15?
I'll
Because
never
you
get
come,
old.
I know your brother. You guys, you were like the Earnhardts of Kentucky. You guys could drive like crazy. How many guys did you drag race and beat?
We burn up 460 a little bit.
Oh, damn, look, I done ran out of fingers.
That's how
I
I met
knew
Floyd.
about it, and the law knew about it too. And they were like, we ain't going to try to run her down. Jeez.
They
You
turned
knew
the
how
other
to
way.
drive. And you know what? Wouldn't you give anything right now, being the age that we are? You're younger than I. But wouldn't you go anything right now to go back to being that 14 or 15 again, if you knew what you know now?
Absolutely.
Enjoy
Even though
your
I have
youth.
to go back through that death, losing my brother, losing my
Yes.
dad, losing a couple friends here and there, that was really, really rough. I'd still do it.
What would you do if I told you, though, there was still hope? What would you do if I told you that we can take the lessons we've learned and apply them to tomorrow? Maybe, just maybe, you'll hug that friend a little tighter. You'll be a little more free with saying these words, Stace, I love you.
Absolutely.
You'll be a little more free when somebody starts to get on your nerves. Happens. I know.
That's
But
me.
when somebody gets on your nerves, maybe you're going to think, this could be the last time I ever talked to them.
That's right.
Maybe if we took those lessons and applied them. But let's get back to you. Let's get back to talking about what matters here in this. If you are fighting depression, if you are fighting any kind of mental illness, be aware it is nothing to be ashamed of. What may be shameful, though, is that you need help and you don't ask for it. Hence, I give you, look at the bottom of your screen. Now, that's just a website I picked that seems legitimate. Find your own counselor. If you're in California watching us right now, find your counselor. If you're in Kentucky, Virginia, Tennessee, wherever in the world, if you're in Egypt, because this thing gets out to all points of the globe, find somebody to talk to. And you know what? For me, my best counselor was Trevor Huff. He was. Now, I call on people like Amanda. I call on people like Stace. I call on people like Sharon. I call on people that I care about, people that I know care about me for no other reason than it's Chris. Yeah. What did you say last week? If I said, Stace, I got something going on in this place and I don't know what it is, you said, hell nor high water, I'll get to you. And I know you would. I know you would. And I know some other people would too. See, I'm a very blessed person. And I think if most people that are watching this right now, be it live or recorded, I think you'll realize that you are too. And even if you think you're not, like my mom said, make God laugh, tell him about your plans. You are here for a reason, or parentheses, reasons, plural. Most of us, that plural applies. More than one. So I can't help but think to myself, and you'll excuse me while I have to take care of something. I'm getting messages, and I certainly don't want to forego anyone. But it's one of those things where I am very much like, if somebody comes to me, even if I don't really know them, granted, I am not going to be that person that sits there. What you see right here is a drama-free bubble. I don't like drama. But I do love helping somebody. And if I can help somebody, then I'm going to do my best. My best may not always be good enough. And that is when I am definitely going to say, okay, here's what we need to do. We need to find you a clinically board certified therapist. And I happen to have a very good friend that lives near me that is a great one. She has helped me. She has made me realize, well, okay, maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe I'm thinking differently than I should. And let me tell you, I am one of those people, and I don't know if you are, hon, but I'm one of those people that somebody points out I'm doing something wrong, I kind of get irritated. But then I remembered something I heard years ago, and it was something that Trevor had told me. And I said, why? And it had to do with this very podcast. Trevor said, well, he said, I think that things would be, he said, they're great. They sound good. I like it. But there's not enough you there. And I sat back for a minute and I said, Trev, I wrote the thing. He said, yeah. And your writing is great. But I don't feel you. I don't feel your essence. I don't feel your soul coming out. He said, when you're on the air, he said, I feel you. You talk to people. He said, if you can do this and sound like you're not reading, it'd be awesome. You see, I learned something from that. Your friends will never tell you what you want to hear. They will tell you what you need to hear. Now, people that don't give two craps about you, they'll tell you what you want to hear all day long just to get rid of you. It's a fact. Depression can lead to not only an enjoyment of life, which we should all, and may I get an amen on this, we should all enjoy each day as its own unique gift from God himself. Every day we're alive. Every day. He gives us the right to pursue our interests. Let's talk about, may I use you?
Absolutely.
Let's talk about Stacia for a minute. What are her interests? Well, of course, we know horsepower. We also know the paranormal has always interested her because of her experiences as a child. Did she run from that as a child? No, she actually embraced it. She didn't feel afraid. She wasn't frightened. Well, I don't know, honey. Were you maybe for a second or two? You just felt like a peace? Is that accurate?
Yep.
And you wanted to explore and learn and educate yourself more. Why? Maybe it was, and I'm just guessing, maybe it was because you had the heart that's bigger than freaking Texas itself and you wanted to help other people.
Absolutely.
What do you do today? She helps other people. Well, she found a pretty good match with Lloyd. Lloyd goes with.
Thanks.
I've been there. He kept me from falling into a freaking ditch at Wolf Lake. I fell backwards. And if it hadn't been for Lloyd reaching out there and saying, no, you don't, and pull me back up, down I would have went like the Titanic.
It's because we all look out for each other.
That's what we do. And Lloyd was right in front of me, and he turned and looked as I jumped that little gully, and I didn't think I was going to make it. And he said, I got you. Thank you, Lloyd, for that, by the way, if I hadn't thanked you before.
Anytime.
But yeah, anytime you hear him back there. But you see, we have gifts, every single one of us. And maybe you're one of those people that hasn't discovered what your gift is yet, and that's okay. Just like in grieving, and listen to me, gosh, please listen to me so carefully here. Just like grieving, there is no protocol. There is no time limit. Stacy may grieve longer than I do over something. She may grieve, or I may grieve longer than she does over something. It's as individual as the individual themselves. Do not, and now we come to this, do not even think about suicide. You see that? Dial 988. It's toll free. Or you can dial 1-800-273-TALK. That's 800-273-8255. I'm not getting into the religious aspects. I can tell you that I know that the Catholicism belief thinks it's a sin. And I'm not to say it is or isn't. I'm not a judge. You know what I'd look like if I put on black robes? A freaking penguin. That's what I'm going to look like. I'm not a judge. All I'm saying is your life matters. Everybody's life matters. Do Black lives matter? Absolutely. Do Native American lives matter? You betcha. Do white lives matter? Absolutely. How about Asian lives? Yeah, let me say this again. All lives matter. Every one of them, including the lives of animals. Now, there's some coyotes I know that, they probably need dealt with, but our animals, our pets, stray animals, lives matter. I honestly believe in my heart of heart, and I'm not a Buddhist, no, but I do believe that God put every living being on this earth for a reason. Maybe some of those reasons, like a nice cow, are meant to wind up at the Texas Roadhouse. I have no problem satisfying that need. Or chickens, which very well could be the nastiest creature the Lord ever did put on this earth. Well, I love KFC too. So, but I know people that have pet chickens. And you mentioned that looks like it'd make a good Sunday dinner. Well, brothers and sisters, hell just broke loose. So I'm be someplace else. So, with these things being said, a lot of people are probably wondering, well, is he going to get to the portal and is he going to get to the ovulus? Okay, understand something. That is completely and utterly the better half of this program's charge. Her name is Stacia Underwood Gullett.
I'm having a good time just listening to you tonight.
Well, I love listening to. I was talking to some people who watch the thing, and we want to give a big shout out to everybody that watches. I just learned, I think it was last week before, that Georgetown Toyota, where they manufacture some of the top cars in the freaking world, the Camrys, those things can't be beat. Love them. And I found out that there's people in Alabama at a Hyundai manufacturing plant that watches us on Mondays following these things on Thursdays. Because Fridays is like oh my gosh, we can't. We got car people that manufacture cars. Now, if I can get Harley Davidson on board, and I'm just saying, if some guy in Milwaukee is Wisconsin and you're one of the stuff suits and you want me, hey, look, I'm available to be a spokesperson. So all I require is a new Screaming Eagle. That's it.
Not much.
Nothing fancy. You can part with 60 grand. Okay. So, or whatever. But, I know I love my Harley.
No wonder.
Well, it's the thing about it is too, for me, everybody has an escape. For some people, it's artwork. For some people, it's collecting. For some people, it is, maybe boating. For me, it's riding a motorcycle. Do I know the risks? You're damn right. I taught it for 9 years. It ain't about the risk. I can get killed walking right across the road.
Right.
It's about managing the risks. I've had 2 or 3 people in the last few weeks ask me, why don't you get back into teaching? And I had the mayor of the city I live in, whom I greatly respect, and I've loved the guy for years. I just always thought he was a stand-up class guy. Asked me, he said, are you still teaching the bot classes? Well, of course, then that got me to thinking, maybe I should and could. You see, the whole reason I got into it to start with was to save lives. People were getting dead on motorcycles because they thought nothing to it. I can get on it and ride it and go. And then they wind up in a ditch. They wind up with a broke neck. They wind up over a 40-foot embankment. These things happen. So I thought if I can keep one life from doing that, I'll do it. One person from getting hurt or killed, then it was all worth it. And I did it for 9 years. Or 10, whatever it was. And I still use lessons to this day. As a matter of fact, I am taking another course myself. I've been riding for 30 years. Or actually a little more like 35, or counting dirt bikes, probably 40. But I can learn new things because I keep an open mind. Maybe there was something I'm doing that I didn't know. So anyways, with that being said, everybody has a gift. Finding yours may take some time, but trust me, stay alive in order to find it because you're needed. And if you feel right now that you're not wanted, you're wrong. I can tell you right now, I want you here. Stace wants you here. Lloyd wants you here. We all want you here. And just because you don't know exactly why you're here, well, hell, that ain't nothing that nobody ain't faced before. We've all faced that before, every single person I know. And sometimes it takes some of us longer than it does the others to find it, but that's okay, because when we do and we realize, gosh, if I had did what I thought I was going to do, and now today I'm happy. The thing about God is he wants your love of your own free will. He wants your respect of your own free will, but he wants your faith. Faith that you step out on, no matter what's happened, who you've lost. You can turn to him. I told you the story about praying to him for peace when I lost my parents, when I was inconsolable, and he gave it to me. My right hand to him right now. He gave it to me. It wasn't some magic trick of the mind. It was me praying. Give me your peace, please. I had to do it each day, every day. But he never left my side. Not once. Every time I asked him for something I needed, not wanted, but needed, he was there. Now, I've asked him for a Ferrari too. That ain't happened yet because he knows exactly what'll go down with that.
Thank God for unanswered prayers.
God always answers prayers. It's one of three ways. It's yes, no, or not right now. It's one of those three I've learned. Anyways, so I'm going to keep this little thing down here at the bottom rolling for suicide prevention, and on occasion we'll slid. And I still say it. Feel free to message me if you want. If you want me to help you find some help, or maybe if you just sometimes just venting to somebody. And I've done this to Stace before. I've done it to Sharon. I've done it to practically everybody I know. But see, that's what I'm talking about right there. Beautiful. But there's nothing wrong with venting to people. Find somebody that you can trust. And yes, there are people out there. They're few and far between. They're thin, but they're there. Find somebody that you can trust and vent to them. And remember, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to hurt. It's okay to feel grief. Grief is real. But you don't have to get stuck in it. You know, when I think about my parents, I have wonderful memories. And I know for a fact that if they were here right now and saw me, and yes, I still do. I grieve over them from time to time. I can be in the grocery store and see a big jar of Planters peanuts, slightly salted. Dad loved those. Lose it, start crying. Or I can be in there and see something that Mom liked. You get the idea. Lose it, start crying. And let me give you a little secret in case you don't know this. The older you get, the more you lose.
Yeah.
In October of last year, I lost a guy that was like a brother to me, Oliver Little. February of this year, I lost a brother, Trevor Huff. A very good friend of mine, his last name is Greathouse, told me right before I bought this, what we call her now is Old Blue, even though it's new. She's still Old Blue. He said, you got a lot in your bags. Talking about the bike. I said, what do you mean? He said, you got your mom and dad in there. You got Trev in there. He said, you even got me in there because I'm not riding right now. He said, ride for those of us that can't ride. And live for the people that aren't here with us anymore.
Yes.
You go down that road and you twist that throttle, you feel them. They're with you. And God himself be with you. What do you say to that?
I believe
That's
it.
Side of holy cow. I mean, that's heavy. It's deep. And that guy to this day is one of my closest friends. He's also like a brother to me. I'm blessed. I got a lot of people that I trust and care for, and that care for me. I've almost kept you guys on here for an hour. So if you are ready, my dear. Have you already got it warmed up? If I know Stace.
Oh, yeah, it's on.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you, what all did Sharon tell you about what happened?
Yes, this was something else. I had the wonderful opportunity to speak with April's mom, Sharon Barron. This was earlier in the evening, probably about a half hour before we go on. Well, Sharon, if you knew April Renee, she had this purse, and it wasn't just that purse, but she had this purse, and I'm getting ready to see it right now, I believe.
Yeah, I've been working on it for her.
Yep. And if I'm not mistaken, it was a Louis Vuitton. Is that right? Yeah. Well, that was April's. And if anybody came within fingers reach of that thing, oh, hell hath no fury.
See how
So,
shiny it is now, huh?
it looks beautiful now. Yes. And Sharon informed me. Now, I don't know the whole story, so I'm really hoping that you'll enlighten us. That the other
Well,
night, April was found in 1991 at Paintsville Lake. I don't think she was killed there. I do think
we
she
don't
was
need.
killed, but not there. I think
Yeah,
she was dumped there. So, at
yeah.
any rate, Sharon informs me that you and she, and I believe she said Lloyd, all went to Paintsville Lake with that purse. Some things are called trigger objects. They can manifest a spirit, maybe a little, I don't want to use the word easier, but maybe that is the word to use. So tell
Sometimes
me, what happened?
you never
She said
know.
you got all kinds of, and I'm quoting here, she said, oh, she got all kinds of stuff.
Well, before we went there, we went to a private place,
Okay.
um, where a mother had lost a baby, and we were able to turn on the Ovulus spirit box and sit around for a little bit and actually help her to heal with that grief because her child, it was blind, it couldn't speak. So we actually did that first. So by doing that, that was really special for all of us. And she thanked me uh,
Were
personally,
you
and
able to confirm that it was the child?
we asked. Eventually, I said, "Can you tell me what your name is?" And he said his name, and then he kept saying his mommy, and then he said his mommy would sing to him, and he said it right to her, and she just
So you
lit
had
up.
validation.
She lit up. She said, "Oh my gosh!" She said, "I did that." And she goes up there every year and sits by his gravestone on his birthday, takes him cupcake, sits around, sings to him. But she got quite a bit of validation that day. And for
I
me,
don't need to
being able
know
to
the
help
child's
her,
name or the mother, but hopefully she's watching tonight. And I want to say I love you and I respect you. And I'm so sorry for your loss. And that child, I got a thing for children, senior
yes,
citizens, and
I do.
animals. People my own age, I'm like, huh? But I love kids. I love hearing a child laugh
Me
or
too.
hearing them play. And I was so fortunate to be in a store, a big mega chain store. You can figure out which, a few days ago. And I was blessed beyond measure. I ran into a World War II vet. Do you know how
Um,
uncommon that is now? He was a World War II veteran, served in Africa.
wow.
I got teary eyed and I thanked him for his service. And he looks over at me and he says, well, thank you for your support in a very weak voice.
Oh,
And I noticed these people walking by him like they didn't even notice him. And I thought, when he was their age, he was badder than every bitch in that store. That man, the hell he saw, endured, and for what? For the
for
United
us.
States of America, for us, for his children, his grandchildren, his great grandchildren. Because if it was not for our veterans, we would be flying under some other flag right now. That is why I have such respect for them, our law enforcement, our first responders, because they put it out there. So tell me, after you spoke with this lady,
Yep, yep. We talked for a little bit, and after she got all quite a bit of validation, and it was very, very special. It kind of gets me choked up talking about it.
I understand why.
So afterwards, we decided, actually, it was the next day, that we would meet out at the lake for a bit. Actually, we couldn't have picked a better time. There probably wasn't 5 people out there total. So it cleared out. And when it did that, took a portal out there, took my shoes off, sit down there, stuck my feet in the water, and just sit around. And you know me, I've always got something recording in the background, something going somewhere so that I have double proof, not just one thing. I've got something always going. So I was just sitting around talking, and I said, I don't know if you can hear me or not, sis, but if you were put in the water, can you please give me a sign? Show me something. Just show me some circles. Give me a perfect circle. Nothing for probably 2 or 3 minutes. Sharon couldn't hardly stand to be there. She'd walked around and was actually straight in front of me on the other side of the lake.
I can understand
and
why.
Here come these perfect circles, and I have it on video. Not fish popping up for air. Perfect circles. 1, 2, 3, 4. That pointed straight to Sharon.
Wow.
And I called Lloyd on the phone, and I said, you all have to get over here and see this. So I have some video of that, and we did some EVPs, and then we also worked with an SLS, which I don't know if you've ever seen that. I'm sure probably everybody by now has seen it that watches any type of the ghost shows.
Paranormal show, but they probably don't understand what it is. We actually use the SLS at April's Celebration of Life in Paintsville Lake.
Yep.
And basically what it does is it maps out a figure. If I'm not mistaken.
Absolutely.
It maps out a figure, and the figure, Trevor Huff was actually singing, and the figure, there was 2 figures there that were dancing on the table.
Yes.
Now, with the naked eye, when Stace or I or whoever, Sharon, we looked at the table, we saw a tablecloth on it, and maybe a few things that Trev had laid down. But there were these 2 figures dancing on the table.
It's the infrared light. It uses, like, if you've ever purchased a Wii for your kids, yourself, or something, if you'll notice how the Wii maps out figures so that you can use, the remotes and things with it. This is the exact same way that the SLS works. And it maps out the human form. And it shows you the head, the arms, the body, the legs. It maps them out. It can see what we can't see. So we use that there and got something sitting in Sharon's lap.
Really?
2 or 3 times. Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm just now getting to look in the chat, and we have a ton of people in there. And I want to give some acknowledgments. Agnes Hall said that her son is out in this right now trying to save people. We wish him Godspeed and prayer. We want to say hey to Serena, Shane, of course, Sharon, Teresa. And this is just the ones that I'm seeing on this chat because, like I said, this particular program, it's finicky. Tania. And if you're watching at all, we want to say hello and thank you to that.
Yeah, I apologize. I can't see the chat right away. But hey, if you're on
normally
there,
I have my phone going with that, but I've been keeping updates on rain and coming in rain and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you what, we are, as of now, exactly an hour into this. So let's take like the next half hour or so, if you'd like, and open up the Ovulus and the Portal.
Okay.
And let's see who comes through. Remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. We cannot control who does or does not come through. We don't conjure. Okay, that's a bad word for us. Conjure. The only thing I conjure is an appetite, or maybe the occasional Code Corona Extra. I don't do anything else like this, and neither does Stace. Who comes through is based on their own recognizance and their own willingness. Stacy, you hear at the beginning of this, says it's all about love and connection.
All about the
and
love and
let
connection.
us pray.
Love and light.
Yes, love and light, and let us pray to the Heavenly Father that nothing evil can come through. So we ask for his protection. My dear, it's all about you.
All right, let me turn it up. Many souls. Are there many souls there with you? Sounds like it, huh? Do you have a message for somebody? That was loud and clear. Sounds like there's two coming through tonight. Well, what's your name? Can you tell me if you have a message for somebody? Eloise. Almost Eloise sounded like.
They sound like young adults. I mean, the vocal quality, the tone.
Goodness. Did you say you were singing? Get that a lot. Do you have a message for somebody that's in the chat or one of our viewers? Can you tell me what their name might be? Are you all together? Did you all want to contact a family member or a friend? Okay. I'm going to ask if anybody else wants to come through. I'm just going to change the channel and take some of the white noise out. Does anybody else have a message or want to talk? Is there somebody in the chat or a viewer that you have a message for? Did you make any of that out?
No.
Can you tell me what your name was when you were here? Do you have a message for somebody? I heard love you all. Love you something. Can you tell me the name of somebody that you're trying to get a hold of? We ask that you come through in love and light. It's like it's this old Earth. Has the world changed a bit since you were here? Hello? We can hear you. Okay. I heard I have a message. Can you tell me what your message is? Sounds like it said Roy. Are you two having a conversation with yourself? It's like they're talking to each other.
Now, if anybody in the chat room actually hears something, come
Yes.
forward and say something, please. If you can make sense out of it, or if you hear a voice that sounds familiar, please come forward and say so.
Can you give me a name? I'm going to change the channel. If anybody wants to come through, we've got it opened up. It's all in love and light here. Did you have a message for someone? Have some belief. Somebody's still alive. Somebody needs to have some belief, and somebody's still alive.
I wonder what that's in reference to.
Can you give me a first name of somebody you want to contact? Can you tell me what your name is? That sounds like that one from last time. Do you have a message for somebody? Can you tell me what their name might be?
Bobby said, obviously she feels selfish wanting to hear him, but knows there's so many more to hear.
Can you tell me what your name is? Everybody's listening to you.
Scientists. Foreign.
Jessica Preston says in the background, I see a child's face peeking out.
I think Sharon said that last week too. I have dolls in the background.
And each one of them have their own unique personality and story.
Yeah.
Goodness. Are you kids talking here? You having a good conversation between you two? I can't read them. I can't see from here, honey.
Unless it's just another doll in the video, but looks like the face in the back. It's peeking from behind something. She said she'll send a screenshot to it.
Okay. Let's see what this is. Okay, I can see him. Can you give us a name? Somebody that you're trying to get a hold of? Something said my name is Chris. Did you hear that?
Yeah.
You. Is your name Chris?
It does look like there's
Where at?
in the corner.
Is it in this corner?
Yeah, looks like
Is it in this corner? So she's sitting over here. No, the only dolls I have are right here in this little old Victorian chair. And then I have some in the floor and then one right here, but I don't have any behind the chair.
I need to produce a video of that one you sent me of your place that night with the orbs.
Oh
Because
yeah.
you couldn't look anywhere where there wasn't orbs flying everywhere. And I'm sorry, but that was not insects and it was not just dust.
I know who one of them was for sure. We ask that you come to us through love and light. Nothing evil can come through, okay?
Go.
See something again?
Oh, yeah. She sent me a screenshot. She sent me 3 screenshots. I'm going to see if I can share it.
Let's see. Oh, yeah. This is something I'm used to.
Okay, so real quick, I'm going to see if I can share that screen, okay?
Okay.
Let's see here, window. I don't want that. I don't want that. I want that. Okay, and I don't really know that that's working exactly the way I want it to. But it's right in here, and she had it circled. I don't think it's really going the way that I want it to go, though. So I may have to download that and save it.
Sales. 11.
I'm going to get used to it.
Disturbed.
Okay.
Evening.
Disturb your evening. Disturb your evening, it says. The Ovulus. Okay, listen. We're going to cut you off because I don't want to hear that language here. This is the same thing that came through the last time with the F word.
Yeah, dumper.
We're going to cut you off because you're not allowed to come through here like that. I won't allow it. So you are hereby revoked. Does anybody else want to come through in love and light?
Stace, I'm sharing the screen right now of what one of our listeners had found there in the background. You can see where she circled it.
And if you look up here, yep. It looks like a face.
Yeah, right in here. That's what you call compelling TV. So it's
live and in action. There's always something going on here.
Tom Brokaw ain't got nothing on that. I don't care.
He don't have to sleep here tonight either.
No, he don't. You guys do.
I'm going to ask if anybody wants to come through with any messages for any loved ones. You are allowed to come through in love. But if anybody has anything negative to say, you are not allowed here. You're just
the only one on this show permitted to drop F-bombs is me.
That's right.
And then I get griped at for it, so I don't do it. So
anybody else wants to come through and talk to us?
Stace, are those the first ones the first people we heard from earlier? Their vocal tone. Their vocal tone kind of sounds familiar.
That woman, the womanly voice, the one I hear her quite a bit. I miss him. Do they miss you? Sound like a couple. Sound like you said you're tough.
I said we're used to it. It seems like we always have special visitors and a haunted dog.
All these babies aren't haunted. They're sweet.
Mm-hmm. Especially the ones that
Is there somebody in here that plays with my dolls?
How many do you have, Stace?
Something December. Just the ones that were removals, probably around 5. But now the rest of them, I haven't had anything bad happen with them at all.
I was going to say, I believe I counted 9. I mean, just on what I can see from here.
Yeah, I mean, and we don't just have only just the dolls and things. There is all kinds of things in here. You name it.
Spirit board by the serial killer.
I've got those. I've got some spirit boards. I've got some actual, just like a really old toys and things that, when people call me to come and remove stuff, they'll say, oh, well, can you take this, or can you take this too, or take this just in case? And these actually, like this one, this was with one of the dolls. This is just an old dog.
He's adorable.
Absolutely. I love stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of things they find scary, I don't find scary. Look at this one. You talk about gorgeous.
No, he's cute as a button. Mm-hmm.
He's from the 50s.
Is he supposed to be haunted?
Well, he came with 2 babies, and they just didn't want to take any chances. So,
Okay. Okay.
I don't think he is. I think they're all sweet.
That
He's
big heart.
laughing at me.
That's that big heart. Yep.
Okay, we're going to ask if anybody else wants to come through. If you're good, you can come through and talk to us. Hey, Sharon, are you still on there? You having any feelings on this one? Can't wait to hear this.
Jessica Preston says some of these dolls creep me out. I'm usually not bothered by them.
Sharon said the baby boy was born and died in December. So maybe that's where December was coming from. Okay, it's starting to look like Stace might have froze up on us. Sharon said that he was age 3. Not sure if Stacy is having internet connectivity problems due to the weather, or let's face it, given this, it could be anything. So, as we were saying earlier, though, we asked for everybody. Okay, I just got a text from her. She says our electric is out and back on and out again. Okay, so she has dropped off the stage for the time being. So what we're going to do is step out just for a few seconds, take a real quick breather, and come right back to the Mountain Mysteries gatherings, brought to you in part by Little Divas Balloon Decorating. Stay right where you're at. You know, for over 11 years, Little Divas Balloon Decorating has turned events into experiences, and celebrations have been turned into parties. Let Little Divas worry about making your event the best that it can be while you relax and enjoy it. Any event you can imagine: birthdays, anniversaries, weddings, family reunions, graduations, celebrations of life. Any event that you can possibly imagine, Little Divas can bring it to life. They specialize in balloon sculptures, cake table archways, and doorway arches. Get a hold of Little Divas right now and make your celebration, reunion, or business function one that people will never forget. Call 606-791-5616. That's 606-791-5616. Or visit them on Facebook.com/Little Diva Party Decorations and see for yourself. Of course, delivery is always available for a slight additional charge. Little Divas, it's where memories begin. Back with the Mountain Mysteries gatherings, of course, brought to you in part by Little Divas and by our Patreon supporters. Guys, if you could step in, become a Patreon supporter for as little as $3 a month. You'll get early access to all the episodes. It goes up to $10 a month. And this month in July, we actually posted the videos for everyone. But in August, we give out 2 or 3 videos a month that are behind the scenes, what's going on, what's coming up. And yeah, okay, I'm getting more words from Stace now. She said that the entire neighborhood where she lives is currently suffering a blackout. She's hoping to get things back up and running soon. But we have been at this now for about an hour and a half, which is typically the time that we allot for it. Typically an hour to an hour and a half. I know a lot of people have to get up for work tomorrow because it is Friday. So while it's Friday, let me tell you about the new episode dropping tonight at midnight. This is going to be one of those that it's a haunting episode, if you will. It's episode number 59. It's called What Lies Beneath. We travel to 4 different locales. One's in Arizona, one's in Louisiana, one's in Brooklyn, New York, and another one is, did I say Louisiana? Yeah, I did. I think so. And another one is Arizona, Louisiana. I'd have to pull it up. But anyway, Los Angeles, California, Tinseltown, a place called the Cecil Hotel. It is absolutely freaky. If you check out Netflix, and I forget the name of the thing now, and I wish I hadn't even brought it up if I can't remember the name of it. But there's a story about a girl on there who was found on top of inside of a water tower on top of the Cecil Hotel. And we talk about her prominently because that's the place where a guy named Richard Ramirez performed his base of operations. Now, maybe you're thinking, Richard Ramirez sounds familiar. You might know him as the Night Stalker. His base of operations was the Cecil Hotel, but it gets even weirder. This guy in Australia, right? Serial killer, had a thing for picking up and murdering ladies of the evening, prostitutes. Okay, so anyways, he puts on such a good show behind bars. They let him out. And he goes to work for a newspaper. Listen to this. I can't make this stuff up. For a newspaper in Los Angeles, California, working the true crime beat. And all of a sudden, guess what happens? Prostitutes start to show up. And somehow they got dead. LAPD, they're not a bunch of idiots. Okay. LAPD, they're pretty sharp crayons. They're pretty tough cookies to snap. And right off the bat, they're thinking, pray tell, where were you at last night? They put two and two together, and of course, sure enough, it was the guy that this paper had hired as a journalist to work the true crime beat, doing the very thing, investigating the very crimes for which he got put in jail in the first place. And it gets even weirder, especially when you hear about the Canadian lady. She was actually of Asian ethnicity. But what they caught on camera. Wow. And there's 3 other stories too that deal, like I said, in places Arizona, Brooklyn, New York, and of course, Louisiana. It's about 36, 37 minutes, perfect for most people's commute. Or we've got now right at close to 60 episodes. And you can actually binge on this stuff while you're at work if you want to, or while you're at home, or while you're just relaxing, doing whatever. One of my closest friends says, I love listening to the podcast because it puts me to sleep. Really? Thanks. She said, no, it's your voice. She said, I listened to it the next day and she said, I love listening to it. And some of her family enjoy listening to it too. But once again, let me recap quickly. Episode 59 tonight at midnight. A big thank you and a big I love you to Stacia Underwood Gullett and Lloyd Gullett, and to Amanda for researching a lot of these episodes and giving me these ideas to go on, to Little Divas Party Balloon Decorations for sponsoring us. And also, please remember, some of the biggest things I wanted to relate tonight is you do not have to be like a wheel spinning and not getting anywhere if you're dealing with depression. It's okay to have depression. It's okay to admit it. And it's okay definitely to seek help to beat it, because you can beat it. You've got the gift inside of you. Everybody's got a gift. And a part of that gift is wanting to love life and wanting to live it. So again, if you need help, if you need counseling, www.psychologytoday.com/US/therapist. If you're listening to it in another country, I'm sure they've got that there too. Don't be afraid. Google is universal. Get on there and look for help. And please, you are worth being alive. You are worth being here. Dial 988. It's an emergency number for suicide prevention. Or you can call 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. Find a friend. Don't be afraid to message me on the Mountain Mysteries Facebook page. There's so many people out there that know and believe in you, even if you don't believe in yourself. We all go through that. I had it. When I didn't believe in me, my mom and dad did. Trevor did. Ollie. And I got to mention a couple of guys that are with us, and I love them to death. They work in law enforcement. Justin, Kevin. The list goes on and on and on and on and on. John, the list goes on. Every life makes an impact. Every life. Don't second guess that, because it's as true as the sunrise and the sunset and the moon rising. Every single life makes an impact. I cannot say that enough. With that being said, I wish you all a good night, and may God give his blessings to you. Please pray for flooding victims and for anybody that needs it. God tells us to pray without ceasing. It's a good way to spend your time, I think. Pray for others. Karma is real, folks. What goes around comes around. I love you all. May God bless and keep each and every single one of you. And until the next time, stay mysterious.